What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond Built podcast. This is the podcast to help you become the most powerful, confident leader and coach you can be. And welcome to the very first episode that we have sat down and recorded in the year of 2026. And as you can see by the podcast cover, welcome to the very first official episode of the Beyond Built podcast with Chad Morgan and Caroline Morgan. Welcome to the podcast.
Let's go. New podcast, new year, new last name, all of the things.
We took a hiatus of recording podcasts in the month of January to get married in the Philippines, and we just had the brilliant idea to come back as Morgans to make it our podcast together.
We had way too many spiritual conversations while we were on beach walks, and we're like, you know what? This needs to be on the internet.
Absolutely. So let's dive into how we had the most successful year of our lives in 2025. Caroline, would you so kindly do the honors of letting the listener know what we accomplished in 2025?
In 2025, we nearly doubled the size of our business. We hit our first 7-figure calendar year in revenue. We moved across the country into our dream waterfront apartment in Tampa. And we got into the best shape of our lives, both physically and from an internal health standpoint. And we got married.
And spiritually.
Yes, and we got more spiritually connected.
All doing this while traveling
at least one time a month.
At least one time a month throughout the year and really having fun.
Yeah,
I also bought you a brand new car.
Yeah. It's my first car ever. I still have my car from like when I was 19. My steering wheel's disintegrating.
And we just had our dream wedding.
Yeah.
So did everything that we said we wanted to do and more. And it is our mission to help you and help everybody do what we just did.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we want to sit down here and give you guys insight on that you can take action on immediately in 2026 to produce the same outcome. First, let's talk about how we made absolutely everything a non-negotiable. How we were very, very action focused. There were obviously a lot of outcomes that we wanted to accomplish last year. We wanted big things, from the apartment to the wedding to all of it to the 7-figure year. We wanted really big things, but let's talk about how we made the actions and the process, the intention, and where we really focused all of our energy on.
When you focus on the actions, the results take care of themselves, right? When you get very results driven, results focused, that's like making a vision board and then never taking action on doing anything, right? And we had set the 7-figure year the year before, and we fell really short of that because we were so focused on the outcome and we weren't focused on what do I have to do in order to be able to get there. So all of our non-negotiables became things that we knew would produce an ROI. And even if we didn't hit the outcome, we would not only pay back the times that we fell short over the last 2-3 years that you and I did not uphold our non-negotiables, all the self-trust, all the self-confidence that was not there, but we knew that we would get really fucking close, even if we didn't exactly hit it. So we set non-negotiables like posting on Instagram a certain amount of times a week. Yours was 6 days a week, mine was 5 days a week. We showed up on our stories and marketed the business every single day. You sent 3 emails a week. You uploaded 1 podcast. You uploaded 1 YouTube video. We did not miss on our macros. We did not miss when it came to training. For me, a big thing was my self-care and recovery, because with Hashimoto's, in order for me to play at that level, I have to take that kind of care of myself, or else I can't keep up. So I slept at least 7.5 hours every single night, and I protected the fuck out of my day to make sure that I could do it. What else was it?
I just want to highlight that for a second. You have a health condition. You have an autoimmune disease that puts you in a position to make showing up for your health a non-negotiable. We're not always motivated to show up for our daily non-negotiables. We're actually pretty good as humans of talking ourselves out of it. Oh, I did it yesterday. Nobody's going to notice if I don't do it today, right?
Yeah.
Well,
except I wake up and I feel like ass. So I've learned it way too many times that my body literally can't handle that, because I used to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I was really great with my detox practices this week. I can skip on it this next week. And then I wake up and I look like fucking Bugs Bunny because I'm so fluffy and so puffy. I feel it. So
Yeah.
I just learned the hard way.
You're clear on the consequence.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that there's a level of being able to manufacture your own consequence that creates enough urgency to show up for the non negotiable. Funny enough, I made a podcast at the end of 2024, at the very beginning of 2025, how to have the best year of your life. And so this is a full circle moment right now, because if you go and listen to that podcast, you should find it in either December of 2024 or January of 2025. You will hear me talk about this reward system. And I implemented it all throughout the year, and it worked, because showing up for that content on a day-by-day basis, I've been doing this, yes, for a very long time, and I'm also pretty good at talking myself out of doing it and pushing it off and procrastinating it. But what made it a non-negotiable, made it a standard for me, what ultimately has now made it a habit and a way of living and the person that I am, is very early on, I said, Caroline, if I hit all the non-negotiables, we're taking you out for ice cream or something at the end of the week. And if I don't make all my content posts, I don't get to take Caroline out for ice cream.
And then I get really upset.
The sad look on her face is the consequence. So that created urgency for me. I did a whole wardrobe upgrade last year, and that deserves a whole other podcast, but it really upgraded my identity and the way that I feel, the way that I present myself, the way that I speak. At the end of each month, I hit all my content non-negotiables for the month. I'm going to contribute a piece or two to my wardrobe. And if I don't hit these non-negotiables, I don't get to do that. Simultaneously, it also prevented me from doing as much impulsive, random spending by having that standard in place. Funny enough, couple months into the year, 4 months into the year, about 4 to 5, 6-ish months into the year, I no longer needed that reward system, because it was just already ingrained. It was already a habit. Like, it was already part of my routine. It was already part of how I was living my life at that point. But I want to share that with you, because that focus on the action, that focus on the non-negotiable, I wasn't actually really thinking about the 7-figure year throughout the year.
No.
And the next thing you know, we arrived at Q4 and we're like,
oh my God, this is possible.
Yeah.
We were like, wait, this is going to happen.
And like, it's all, and it was written in the sand that it already was.
Yeah.
That was the really powerful thing going into Q4 this year. Is like, whoa, we're here. It's going to happen. And all we need to do is keep doing the things we have already been doing for the previous 3 quarters. So I wanted to share that, because for you and Hashimoto's, the sad face that you had about ice cream is my consequence. Your consequence of looking like Bugs Bunny is a little bit more significant, but there has to be a significant reason as to why you do it. And you can hack yourself into putting in the actions if the reward does motivate you enough. And
so our next point is we made everything personal. And I feel like that ties in really, really well to what I just talked about.
Funny enough, I was about to tie it into the next point. So I'm glad we're on the same wavelength, yeah.
Of having to take really great care of myself, because for this last year, a lot of things were very personal to me, because in my entrepreneurial career, I don't think I struggled with as much imposter syndrome as I did heading into last year, with all of the self-trust that I had broken. Granted, I was going through a major healing journey. Like, my body was literally in a coffin. I had to work it out of that. And unfortunately, my work suffered. And I do take a lot of pride in my work and posting on social media and my output and how I take care of my clients. And I had just fallen so short of the standards that I had previously had for so many years that going into this next year, I was like, I am not letting anything, no diagnosis, no circumstance, I'm not letting anything impact who I know I am and how I show up. And that's why I made the entire year personal, because yes, it was about building the business, because I care so deeply about the people that we serve. So like, that's actually kind of personal to me. It's because it's personal fulfillment. But it was about coming home to myself, and it was about showing up as the woman that I know that I am. And it was not just in the actions that I took, it was also in how I presented myself. Because for the majority of my life, there was a massive incongruence in how I looked versus how I felt. I felt very, very different than the way that my body looked. And yes, a lot of it was because of things that I had to learn on my health and fitness journey, all of the work that I had to put in to pay back the years of chronic dieting, putting an autoimmune disease into remission and learning how to live with it. But I was like, this is my fucking year. And I know that we say that every year, but it happened last year because I fucking meant it.
Yeah.
So I put everything that I had learned over the last few years, and I didn't miss. Like, there were times where Chad would be like, oh, let's go do this. And I'm like, sorry, I got to hit my macros.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, no, I'm going to go get steps in. And he would be laying on my couch and he'd be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I used to be 100% like that, but then health got in the way. And it just felt so good to operate in the manner like I knew that I could. So every week, the reward for me was seeing a better physique. It was feeling so much better. It was having more energy. It was choosing more nutritious foods instead of convenience foods while still having my ice cream once a week that you would buy me. I ate a lot of ice cream last year.
She did a lot.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
And I still got into the best shape of my life the entire time. But that's what truly made it personal. It was the personal fulfillment, moving into the apartment. It was living the life that we get to live right now, but it was also truly becoming the person that I know that I already was. And now it reflects on the outside.
Yeah. I love this second point around making it personal because it can go so many ways. And I'm going to go there with you guys. I'm going to speak about the personal tie-ins to what contributed to such a successful year last year. First off, the reward system that I mentioned. This actually gave me the permission to want to make things more personal, to want to make it more about the rewards. Because there was a stage of my entrepreneurial journey where I really made it not about me at all. It's about the mission, it's about the vision, it's about the company, it's about the clients, it's about the team, it's about Beyond Built. And I didn't want to make it about myself at all. Funny story, backstory, I spent a lot of money living in San Diego very early on, probably less than 2 years into my entrepreneurship journey. I tasted money for the first time. I spent a lot of it, and I ran myself pretty dry doing that. And there was a lot of guilt that came with that. There was a lot of shame that came with that. So I went into this very scarce mindset. I got to make up for all that money that I spent. And to the same note, this is also where I was fresh into entrepreneurship, making leadership mistakes, a lot of leadership mistakes, making business mistakes. And I felt like I had to pay the price for all those mistakes. So I was in this mindset of, I got to make up for all this stuff. I got to make up for all this stuff. And it led to a stint of business that wasn't very fun because it was very scarcity driven. And so going into 2025 and setting the goal to live in this apartment, setting the goal to upgrade my wardrobe, setting the goal to upgrade our vehicles. We upgraded both of our vehicles last year, setting those goals. All right, I'm making it personal again. And what had the largest influence on this is getting to that 2 to 3 year point of trying to make it all about the vision and realizing that we're actually dimming our own personal quality of lives for the business. We're not traveling as much. We're not really living where we want to. We're not really in the environments that we want to be in. We don't look the way we want to look. We don't feel the way we want to feel. We're not dressing the way we want to do. And Caroline and I had a very real discussion. It was a very emotional discussion around, this is not our vision. For business aside, put it to the side. Let's talk about our vision as a couple. And so for you listening to this, when you put the business to the side for just a second, what is your vision? Make it personal. Make it about you again. Because when you started this journey in the first place, you probably said things, I want the freedom. I don't want to have a boss. I want to be able to do it from wherever I want to. Make it about you again. And we went into 2025 with, yes, the vision for the business. And we also made it about our vision. It was that much more leverage, that much more urgency, that much more reason why behind all the non-negotiables that we had set for ourselves. There might be this guilt or this feeling of selfishness that comes with the idea of making it that personal. I really encourage you to do that, because just because you want things for you in your own personal life does not take away from how much you want to serve your business and your mission and your clients. If anything, it gives them a bigger permission slip to want more in their lives. And that's actually the most selfless thing that you can do. And while we achieved all of this personally, we have staff members hitting their biggest revenue months. Mm-hmm. We have staff members upgrading their lives. We have clients setting goals and coming to us with goals to not just make it about their fitness, but upgrade their lives. And that's the most beautiful and rewarding part of this process. And it's been very transformational. It's been very healing for myself. And I really want to share that story with you because maybe it can have that same impact.
And one thing that I want to add to this before we go on to point number 3 is that part of this come to Jesus realization that we had and that conversation of what do we want as a couple, it actually started with, well, what do I want?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're going through all of that in a business, like you question everything.
Yeah.
It's emotions, it's mental, it is spiritual. And Chad and I had to have our own come to Jesus meetings with ourselves. And we watched a video of opening your eyes up to what your most perfect day is and reverse engineering that. And we did that separately.
Frank Kern's historic core influence talk.
Phenomenal. Skip to like 1 hour in.
56 minutes.
Yes. And we did that separately. And then we showed it to each other and we're like, oh, this is like the same day. Awesome. But we also had to come to a point where we were both so unhappy individually that we had to be like, okay, what do I want as an individual? And thank God it was the same as a couple. But we have such respect for each other as people and as leaders that when you're in that state where you're like, I'm holding myself back somewhere, this is just not what I was meant for, that we just had to get very, very frank with each other as people and have enough respect for each other as an individual outside of the relationship to be like, okay, what do you want with your life? Is it aligned with where I'm going? Can we come together on this? Or is this truly so different that this is no longer supportive of one or the other? And that is what I believe made this year so powerful is like, yes, it was personal and we were able to come together as a couple so much stronger, but we built each other separately as individuals. And that's what made the relationship union part of it even stronger.
As successful as this past year has been, do you remember what month out of 2025 we looked at each other and like, wait a second, we are already doing everything we said we were going to do. Like we have to increase the difficulty a little bit. Do you know at what point in the year that was?
In 2025?
Going into Q3 and 4, I believe.
It was like September.
Yeah, going into Q3 and 4, because that was at the point to where we're like, okay, this is going to happen. It's already written in the sand. It's going to happen if we continue to just do the things that we were doing. And this is something that's very powerful that happened for us. And it's had its influence on us. It's had its influence on our environment. It's really had its influence on our clients. And it's had an influence on the kind of clients that we are actually bringing into Beyond Built right now. Is things were already going well. And instead of just settling for that, we wanted more. We put the foot on the gas pedal more. I hired a fitness coach. You hired a fitness coach.
I did first. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And now he hired my fitness coach.
Correct. We went into
Shout out David.
Shout out David. We went into the busiest season of our lives, Q4. The wedding, the travel, the last push for 7 figures. We went into the busiest season and we decided to say, hey, how much further can we take this? How much better can we be in our fitness than we are right now? We hired a business mentor. How much better can things get?
Yeah.
We put ourselves into a community where we were the small fish in a big pond. We saw how these businesses were being operated from the outside looking into this mentorship and like, yo, that's really inspiring. Let's make life hard on purpose, not from a place of pain or desperation or trying to make up for something, but genuinely because we want to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And the idea of staying right here and the idea of settling, the idea of playing small, that's actually the pain point now. It's no longer looking at our lives and being like, oh my gosh, we're not living the quality of lives that we want to right now.
Yeah.
It's just putting the foot on the gas pedal for fun at this point. And that's how we're going into the year of 2026. And it's also left its mark in terms of how we've been bringing clients into Beyond Built. We've been bringing in clients that are already in good shape. They already have disciplines. They're already pretty healthy. They're already happy.
Already have a business.
Yeah. And they just want to take it further along because they see us continuing to work for more and more and more and more and more as people who are already very fulfilled, very happy, and have a lot of the things that we already want. I mean, just as easily if we could just say, hey, we could just ride this out for another 15 years. We just don't want to.
No.
We really just don't want to.
I just think it's like against my religion, Like when I think about settling, I truly do believe in the saying, if something's not growing, it's dying. Like you can't actually maintain for that long. We actually just got back from church not that long ago, and part of the sermon was God will actually prune things out of your life so that they can grow back stronger and bigger and more capable. And I feel like that is so, so true in your life, because if you are not pruning yourself in some way, cutting back so that you can grow back stronger, if you are not reaching for something else, that branch dies and then the rot's going to spread to the rest of the vine, right? So you always have to be in some way, not because you lack something, not because you're always feeling incompetent or not enough, but because that's just who you are. You're a person that you love to grow and evolve and continue to better yourself in some way. And it's just a way of life at this point.
It's also easing, you talk about pruning, it's also easing some of the pressure that we inflict upon ourselves as high performers and as entrepreneurs. Hiring the coach, outsourcing the decision making there. We really could have strong armed it and gone through this busy season. To be fair, I knew that was going to be really hard and really difficult to keep up with. And I was okay with that. And so, hey, let me outsource the decision making to someone who can not only hold me accountable, but fill me in and fill in gaps that I don't even know are there. And to my surprise, a lot of gaps were filled in. I really peaked my physique towards the end of the year, doing something I didn't even think I was going to do. I thought I was going to cut into the wedding. He's like, no, we're going to grow. We can put on more tissue, and the more tissue that you put on, you'll end up looking leaner. You don't need a deficit. I was like, okay. And there was immediate resistance to that right away. I was like, okay, let's do it. Same thing when we started with our business mentor. A lot of what he told us on the call, there was resistance to it. He called us out on the things that we were creating resistance around all year long. And he's like, why are you doing that? Why are you playing small? And so being able to turn up the difficulty on our lives towards the end of this last year, man, did it increase our bandwidth and our operating capacity and give us a brand new set of eyes to really look at this journey through. That's it. Those are the core principles that created the most successful year of our lives. And these are principles that we will carry with us into the year of 2026. And I cannot wait to record this podcast at the end of 2026, talking about how you can make your 2027 the best year of your life. If you got value from this, take a screenshot of it. If there's something that you want to further converse with us about, based off what landed for you in this episode, shoot us a DM on Instagram. We will respond because we love our podcast listeners more than any other audience. Just saying. We'll see you in the next one.